and so we'd seen loads of pictures, and it was like in that big tent, and it's always been in that big tent. So like when we then got there, and it was like, this isn't a big tent. Like, what is this? This is really. It was just really like, this is like.
Bit like, huh?
I got there. I got there first, and I was like, "Is this the right? Am I at the right stage?" I had to like walk around, like parked my car up, and it was only then I saw like I think it was the Borders guys, and I was like, "Is this where we're playing?" So it was cool though. The one thing I liked though is that there were so many bands that I like we'd either played with before or I knew who were on the lineup. So
Yeah,
like
because
seeing
Defects were there,
Akira.
weren't they? Or were they on a different stage?
Who's that?
Defects,
Who's that?
Tony, and Defects.
They were on a different stage. Yeah, they did a. I think they did the official. Like they did like the Thursday show. I
Mm.
think. So we were on the Wednesday like fan takeover, which was like Red Method. Who else played? Um, yeah, Fury, Borders, Seething Akira. I can't remember who else. Oh, Sertraline, who became Waterlines.
They're brilliant, man.
Um, yeah, so they. I think it was basically like the new. It was basically the new vocalist, but they hadn't rebranded yet. So yeah,
And obviously you
that
played
was
with
that was
them.
fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, played with them like twice in 1 week, a couple of weeks, pretty much, with the Derby and London. To be fair, they were one of the bands we were almost going to go out with for February, and we were like, no, it's been too much. We're with them all the time now. People are going to think that we're like associated. Um, but I can't think of who else was on that show. There were one of the bands was meant to be one of the opening bands from the Raven Age tour, who played the Newcastle date. But I think, funny enough, I think they broke up since that point, so they weren't actually on the final one.
Mm. Fucking, they've just
But
announced
yeah,
another
that
tour,
was
haven't
cool.
they? Raven Age have just announced
Who's that?
another tour.
Oh yeah,
Supporting
with Apocalyptica.
Apocalyptica. That's interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know Apocalyptica was still going, like playing shows.
No, I
That's
didn't.
yeah,
But I saw it and I was like, huh?
makes sense, I guess. I mean, who else is going to support a string quartet metal band? I don't know. Yeah,
Because
I guess it
then they
makes
could
sense.
play
Yeah.
some stuff from like Exile, the acoustic stuff that they did.
Oh yeah.
Do you not think they could
That
awesome
would be funny.
stuff from Blood Omen because like they have strings in on Blood Omen.
Yeah. Yeah. Get Apocalypse to learn the parts and come out.
I mean, they did
Pay
that
them some money. I'm sure they'll.
with the release party that they did. They got someone out playing violin,
Oh really? Oh cool.
and
I didn't know that.
it was really weird. Like apparently
I've seen a band with a cello before, which was
yeah,
cool.
apparently the guy that they got in had learnt the songs on the way to the show.
What? Wow.
That's a
That's
musician.
mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. Um.
God, that was an
Yeah. I
expensive
think.
gig.
Was
Cost
that?
me.
Which one was that?
It was at Signature Brew in London. And
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it cost me 30 quid to get there and 30 quid back.
Wow. Wait, from Manchester.
From Hendon, North London, to the venue
Oh
and back.
wow. Jesus. Wait, why?
I don't know.
Is it
Weird.
train strikes or something?
Don't know. It was just ridiculously
Madness.
expensive.
Wow.
It was like 30 quid on the Chugaboom show though for the Uber back.
Oh, you got new? Yeah, that will do it though. To be fair.
But that's literally, it was like down the road. It was literally like a 10-minute drive and it was like 30 quid. It was like, fuck's sake.
Was that the Raven Age one?
No, the Chugaboom show
the Chugaboom
from
one.
Christmas.
God. Yeah, Ubers in London are ridiculous. I think. Speaking of that, those shows I did for Paolo Nutini 2 years ago, I had to get a cab back once, and it was like £50 one night because I missed the last train.
Oof.
Yeah, that was not fun. And then I still had to go back into work and do the next day, the morning after. That was don't miss that.
Bit
job.
broke. Bit like
Yeah, I was very broken. But yeah, I don't.
No extra drink.
Trying to think what else we've got coming up. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just as well because I had to work a long day the next day anyway, but just got to meet Lewis Capaldi, so that was funny. He's an interesting fellow. He's an interesting fellow.
I can imagine.
It's fun.
He comes
To be
across
honest,
as a laugh, though.
I didn't even notice him at first. It was the guy I was working with who weirdly he was like doing the guest list stuff, and so each day we were looking at like interesting names that like we recognised on the guest list. So there was like Paloma Faith was on there one day. Christopher Eccleston was there on the first day. It was bizarre. And he was there on the first day, and we saw his name, and he literally just came down in like a white like Primark t-shirt, and he was like he just looked like he just jumped off the tube, and he was sweaty and like out of breath, and he was like, "Oh, all right, mate. So, my name's Lewis. I'm on the guest list." And we were like, "Okay." And then the mate was like, "Oh, can I get a picture with my missus?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure, no worries." Yeah, he was really nice though. And then he came again the last day, and his uncle was there as well. Was it Peter Capaldi? So like they were bustling around. It was bizarre, and like he recognised me. He was like, "Oh, you're the Ticketmaster man, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah." Yeah, he was actually really nice guy. Got time for him.
That's a strange one to meet.
Yeah, definitely. Who was it? Another one I did when I did a Cardiff event, which was actually a Lewis Capaldi show. Was Sam Ryder was supporting the guy who like almost won us Eurovision. But weirdly enough, he used to be in a hardcore band. And,
yeah,
like,
you can tell
he
because
stayed
I spotted one of the Formula One races. It was out the British Grand Prix. He's wearing an Iron Maiden t-shirt, singing the national anthem. It was like, okay,
nice. Yeah, he was in a band that I put on with my promotion company way back in the day. They were like American, like kind of like Dragged Under, actually, I think. But yeah, I did not, and like they stayed at my mum's like apartment. It was bizarre, and it wasn't until way later someone was like, "Oh, remember when he was in a hardcore band?" I was like, "Wait, what?" And then watched the video. I was like, "What? How did I not know this?" But yeah, I bumped into him when I was like checking like the box offices and stuff, and was just like, "Oh, hey, you probably don't remember me." And like, yeah, God, I couldn't tell if he was high or it was just the way he talks. But yeah, man, that guy is like, he's like new age. Some serious new age guy. It was so funny.
What's the weirdest thing that's happened on tour?
Weirdest thing on. Oh, actually, to be fair, that's probably not too hard to answer. I had an interview while our van broke down on the Raven Age tour. So I was having a job interview, and then like everyone, well, it wasn't a job interview, it was more like a briefing, like they wanted to speak to me kind of thing. And then like literally as I'm on the phone, everyone's like, "What's going on? Oh, why are we stopping?" Oh, like they're all like having a little panic, and I'm still just like trying to listen to about what like this job entails. And, and literally I think at one point, like, so we had to pull off and like actually get out of the van. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to like call you back because our van has just broken down." So it was the most like bizarre little like phone call she probably ever had. That was probably one of the weird ones. Because that whole section, to be fair, it was towards the beginning. We'd done Bristol. Oh, it was after Manchester. So we'd done Manchester Rebellion, and then we were going to Newcastle, and it broke down on the way to Newcastle, and it was like somewhere near Ripon. I think it was Ripon.
Yeah.
In that area, and the tow truck literally, he dropped our van off in some like little parking lot by some river walk or something, and was like, we can't. Basically, they couldn't see it till the next morning. So essentially, we were like, okay, well, we don't have like anything to do. He was like, "Do you want me to drop you at the Spoons?" Just like, sure. So we literally spent like all evening in Spoons. Luckily, I think the next day was a day off as well, so we didn't actually have to rush to the venue. But it was so funny. It was such a weird experience.
Seems to be a van theme is the van breaking down. I've heard that. I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard that a few times. A few vans breaking down. Yours has a couple of times though, hasn't it?
Well, we were using that one was the old Raven Age one we were using at the time. But yeah, I know the guys had that issue and Dragged Under, I don't know if it was before Manchester or after, where they apparently broke down in Glasgow outside the venue, like it wouldn't start out the front of the venue. And it's funny, I was just telling my mum this story because she found it hilarious. But yeah, basically, Kyle called up the RAC or AA, I think it was the AA, and was like, "Oh, we've broken down," and they were actually like, "Oh, we can get there in like half an hour," and and then Kyle was like, "Actually, could you come later?" And they were like, "What? Why?" He's like, "Oh, because we've got a show to play." so literally, they got a ticket. They like sat outside the venue. The van had to stay outside the venue. They loaded out and played the show, and then the AA guy came, and when they asked like, "Where do you want us to tow you to?" he was just like, "Can you tow us to Leeds? Because that's the next show." And like, it will need to be fixed by tomorrow, so we may as well just fix it there. I'm still like, that I wasn't on that tour because like basically they had to not sleep the entire night because they were in the yeah, so you know what, that does not sound fun. But yeah, that they basically got towed the entire time. It was ridiculous. So
works both ways though, doesn't it?
So
Saving money again.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like Kyle was like, we probably made more money than at the other bands on the tour because we think that they did. But yeah, probably the weirdest thing. We did a very strange experience outside Leeds, where yeah, I'll wait for Az to come back, but that was bizarre case. I think I was having to unfortunately babysit the old bassist while he went drinking at the club night afterwards, which was all right. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, the other guys just didn't have the patience for him.
Do you have like
What's that?
do you have like a go-to meal like before you do the venue or a ritual, a drink, or do you just
Recently I have actually, well, in the last few shows I found quite useful as to having like one of those Powerades. I would have like a Powerade like an hour before we play, just to give me like enough energy, because sometimes I'm like, well, like I'll have water as well, but it doesn't actually like energize me, and then you don't want to have a full meal when you're singing and whatnot. I find it makes me very like bloated.
Yeah.
So
I find that with even doing streams.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that
like if I'm here and I'm on Twitch doing the stuff and I'm like, if I've just had a meal, like I can tell my voice is not going to take it.
Yeah. It's annoying.
You can see that sometimes, can't you, Crewgzy?
Yep.
Yeah, like his screams sound shit today.
It's annoying though, because like you need the energy to get the scream, but you also don't want to be too like recently full that you're like like pretty much just full of food. It's a bit of an awkward balancing act where sometimes like I'll have to eat separately from the other guy, or like Cherry, like same with Cherry as well. We'll have to eat at like separate times. Like the other guys just go for a bloody like massive Nando's or whatever. And like I'm like, I need to be more careful with what I'm eating, and same with Cherry. Yeah, I'd say that's probably like the only proper ritual thing I've adopted in the last basically all the shows last year. I was doing that, and I found it was pretty helpful. Still obviously need to eat at some point beforehand, but just like I don't have to like think too much about like eating close to the set but not too close to the set. So yeah.
Did you enjoy your Jack Daniels?
You know what? I still have one of them, I think. Me and Owen had some of them. I think I had mine